What type of government is it when the monarch has the power to run the government? Excellent choice. Monarchy is the right answer. State true or false. Religious processions and celebrations can't lead to conflicts. Exactly. False makes sense, and it is right choice. Which of the following is not mentioned as a level at which a government operates? Nicely done. Corporations is a solid answer. In which of the following forms of government, king is the head of the government? Ah. You got it? Your choice monarchy is right. What is a basic way citizens of a democratic nation can influence the government? Smart move. Voting is an accurate answer. The dash of India guarantees equal rights to men and women as voters and citizens. Good job. Your answer constitution works well here. Anarchy isn't exactly a type of government. It's a lack of any government at all. Nice selection. True is the correct and valid answer. What is a theocracy? Fill in the blank. A theocracy is a government based on dash. Smart pick. Religion is the correct choice. Is there a branch of government that handles legal matters, as in a court of law? You chose yes, and it is correct. A government cannot be democratic unless it allows universal adult franchise. Great thinking. True is the right choice. To whom did the government not allow to participate in election in olden times? Sharp thinking. Poor person is the right choice. Women in the UK got to vote on the same terms as men some years later in 1938. Perfect. False is the correct choice. On which level does India take decision to maintain peace relation with China? Correct response. Central level is the most accurate answer. The organ of a government which implements and enforces the law is called dash. You're right. Executive is the correct answer. True and false. Apartheid system in South Africa was abolished in the year 1990. Correct. False is the right answer. In a monarchy, people can raise questions about the decision the monarch makes. Well done. False is the right choice. To be prime minister, a person must first be elected to which governing body? Bravo. House of Commons is the answer. In a monarchy, the country's citizens are allowed to elect whomever they want. Valid point. False is true. The evidence in court is looked at by a group of men and women called a dash. Nice work. You chose jury and it is correct. When a person breaks the law, he is taking away the rights of another person. Strong choice. True is the right answer. Finally, they succeeded, and in dash, South Africa became a democratic country. On track. 1994 is the correct answer. The monarch has the power to make decisions and run the government. Right again. King or queen is a valid answer. Which form of government would be ruled by religious leaders or a holy text? Well picked. Theocracy is the correct answer. In some parts of the world, the government has willingly shared their power. Clear logic. Your choice false is sound and 100% true.
It is the government that decides on the rules. These rules are called dash. Solid response. Laws is a valid choice. A group of people who work together to get something done is called an dash.
Great job. Organization is the accurate answer.
A dash is a group of people with the authority to govern a country or state.
Well reasoned. Government is the correct choice.
State true or false. With these laws, the power of government is not too much.
Good thinking. False is the right answer.
The settlement of the dispute with the neighboring country is the work of. Excellent. Central government is a brilliant choice. Which organ of government is responsible for giving justice to the people? Right choice. Judiciary is the best answer.
The government also has a job of destroying the boundaries of the country. Nice work. You chose false and it is correct.
The part of the government which makes laws for its people is called dash. Excellent. Legislature is a brilliant choice. True and false. King and queen get their power from the people they rule. Well reasoned. False is the correct choice. Government at a village, town or locality is termed as dash government. Smart move. Local is an accurate answer. The government also works at local level. Here local levels means great thinking. All of the above is the right choice. Nelson Mandela was elected the first black president of South Africa in strong choice. 1994 is the right answer. Do the citizens have more participation in a democracy or an autocracy? Clear logic. Your choice democracy is sound and 100% true. In India before dash, only a small minority of men were allowed to vote. Bravo! Independence is the answer. Which type of government is ruled by one person who has absolute power? You got it. Your choice dictatorship is right. In the context of a democratic country, who ultimately holds the power? Correct. The citizens is the right answer. Which organ of the government is responsible for making laws in India? War. On track. The judiciary is the correct answer. Which officer will be responsible for the finances of an organization? Valid point. Treasurer is true. A mark is put on the finger to make sure that a person casts only dash. Nicely done. One vote is a solid answer. What is a form of government in which citizens have the right to vote? You chose democracy, and it is correct. Voting right to every adult citizen was first given by which country? Great job. New Zealand is the accurate answer. The state-level government would look after and cover the entire dash. Well done. State is the right choice. In India, all the people above the age of dash have the right to vote. Right choice. 18 is the best answer. In which form of government might a military dictator hold the power? Solid response. Autocracy is a valid choice. Which organ of government is the law-making organ of the government?
Well picked. Legislature is the correct answer.
In a democratic government, the government is answerable to the dash.
Good thinking. People is the right answer.
It was Gandhiji who demanded that all adults have the right to vote. Exactly. True makes sense and it is right choice. A group of people who make rules and govern a country is called dash.
You're right. Government is the correct answer.
Men without property have no right to vote in a country like the USA.
Perfect. False is the correct choice.
The decision to locate a common well in the village is the work of?
Smart pick. Local government is the correct choice.
Every country needs the dash to make decisions and get things done.
Nice selection. Government is the correct and valid answer.
Which of the following is the highest level of government in India?
Right again. Central government is a valid answer.
Citizens of which country are considered to have the least freedom?
Good job. Your answer, Cuba, works well here.
Which form of government is responsible for implementation of laws?
Sharp thinking. Executive is the right choice.
A form of government where the ruler has absolute or total power.
Excellent choice. Autocracy is the right answer.
What responsibility do Australians have after their 18th birthday?
Correct response. Voting is the most accurate answer.
Which is the system of hereditary rule by a king or queen known as?
Nice selection. Monarchy is the correct and valid answer.
In a democracy, the final decision-making power lies with the dash.
Excellent. People is a brilliant choice.
Universal adult franchise is right to vote for adults who are dash.
Perfect. 18 and above is the correct choice.
Dash is the largest democracy in the world in terms of population.
Well done. India is the right choice.
All adults in the country are allowed to vote. This is known as
on track. Universal adult franchise is the correct answer.
Who wanted to incorporate universal adult franchise in elections?
Excellent choice. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is the right answer.
If a person is caught driving without a license, what will happen?
Right choice. Both A and B is the best answer.
Which USA president had to sacrifice his life to abolish slavery?
Clear logic. Your choice, Abraham Lincoln, is sound and 100% true.
Introduction of 2 new trains between Dibrugarh and Kanyakumari.
You're right. Central is the correct answer.
Which system of government has power shared at different levels?
Strong choice. Federal is the right answer.
True and false. Non-whites could vote in South Africa before 1994.
Well picked. False is the correct answer.
The government in which a king or a queen is a rulers of country.
Well reasoned. Monarchy is the correct choice.
The state of Uttar Pradesh comes under which level of government?
Bravo! State is the answer.
Which government department is responsible for building schools?
Nicely done. Ministry of Education is a solid answer.
Which branch of government includes the Congress or Parliament?
Nice work. You chose legislative branch and it is correct. True and false. In our society, boys and girls are valued equally. Right again. False is a valid answer. Which government takes decision for the defense of our country? Good thinking. National is the right answer.
Which of the following dams is used for irrigation in Karnataka?
Great job. Krishnasagar Dam is the accurate answer. In monarchy, who has the power to take decisions and make rules? Valid point. Monarch is true. The first woman legally allowed to vote in colonial America was? Smart pick. Lydia Taft is the correct choice. In a democratic government, who gives the government its power? Correct. The people is the right answer. Who has the most political power in the Australian government? You got it. Your choice Prime Minister is right. In a democratic government, people choose their leaders by dash. Good job. Your answer election works well here. In this kind of government, power is held by religious leaders. You chose a theocracy, and it is correct. What is the term for the right to vote in political elections? Great thinking. Franchise is the right choice. The railways, Supreme Court, Bharat Petroleum all belong to the. Solid response. Central government is a valid choice. Some examples of institutions that are part of the government. Smart move. Supreme Court is an accurate answer. Which system of government has a loose association of states? Correct response. Confederal is the most accurate answer. The movement which was held for the right of voting for women? Exactly. The suffragette movement makes sense and it is right choice. Which branch of government is responsible for creating laws? Sharp thinking. Legislative branch is the right choice. In which type of government may rulers be religious leaders? Great thinking. Theocracy is the right choice. Which organ refers to the court and legal system in an area? Great job. Judiciary is the accurate answer. The United States is an example of which type of government? Well reasoned. Democratic Republic is the correct choice. Which form of government is led by a small group or council? Clear logic. Your choice oligarchy is sound and 100% true. Any group of people has to live by a certain group of rules. Right again. True is a valid answer. In the Russian Federation, which office do the people elect? Strong choice. President is the right answer. Which branch of government enforces or carries out the laws? Exactly. Executive makes sense and it is right choice. Indian Railways is the responsibility of the Dash government. Nice work. You chose Central and it is correct. You are automatically a citizen if you are born in the USA. You're right. True is the correct answer. Which representative body of Parliament has the most power? Smart move. House of Commons is an accurate answer. Who was the pioneer of the suffragette movement in Britain?
Bravo! Emmeline Pankhurst is the answer.
The A- is the branch of the government that enforce laws. Smart pick. Executive is the correct choice. What is a government compared to in the provided material?
Correct. A big system is the right answer.
The main lawmaking body for the whole country is dash. Solid response. Parliament is a valid choice. A village panchayat comes under dash a level of governance. Correct response.
Local is the most accurate answer.
The decision to construct a big children's park in Patna.
Good thinking. Local level government is the right answer.
The government where kings and queens rule is called dash. Valid point. Monarchy is true. Name the native language of black people of South Africa. Well picked. Zulu is the correct answer. The two states involved in the Cauvery water dispute are... You got it? Your choice, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, is right. Any person who is caught driving without license can be on track. Both and is the correct answer. In a republic, people choose dash to run the government. Right choice. Representatives is the best answer. All adults have the right to vote. This is known as dash.
Excellent. Universal adult franchise is a brilliant choice.
Under which organ do the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha fall? Well done. The legislature is the right choice. Which party has currently formed the central government? Nicely done. BJP is a solid answer. The central government takes action on many dash issues.
Good job. Your answer, national importance, works well here.
Fill in the blank. An oligarchy is ruled by a dash group.
Nice selection. Small is the correct and valid answer.
You must have heard the word government mentioned dash.
Sharp thinking. Several times is the right choice.
The king enjoys supreme power in this type of government. Excellent choice. Monarchy is the right answer. Which of the following is not a function of government? You chose cooking food for everyone, and it is correct. In which year the women were allowed to vote in America?
Perfect. 1920 is the correct choice.
What is the currency for most European Union countries? Well done. Euro is the right choice. Elections are held after how many years in our country?
Smart pick. 5 years is the correct choice.
How many levels of government are there in our country? Nicely done. 3 is a solid answer. Democracy comes from the dash word meaning democratia. Clear logic. Your choice Greek is sound and 100% true. The government maintains law and order in the country. Solid response. True is a valid choice. The dash level means in the village, town or locality.
Smart move. Local is an accurate answer.
The 2 types of government mentioned the chapter are. You're right, and is the correct answer. Legislature is to parliament as a president is to dash. Strong choice. Prime Minister is the right answer. In which year the American women got the right to vote? Good job. Your answer 1920 works well here. When were the first local elections in India conducted? On track, 1951 is the correct answer. Which gives the people the most voice in making laws? Great thinking. Democracy is the right choice. A government does not perform any important function. Nice work. You chose false and it is correct. Which water dispute between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu? Well reasoned. Kaveri water is the correct choice. In India, the government is elected for the period of... Good thinking. 5 years is the right answer. When was publishing of journal Young India started? Valid point. 1931 is true. Women in United Kingdom got the right to vote in dash. Correct response. 1928 is the most accurate answer. What are the key elements of a democratic government? Well picked. Both B and C is the correct answer. What does the government make for everyone to follow? Excellent choice. Laws is the right answer. The suffragette movement started during the Dash I War. Nice selection. First World War is the correct and valid answer. Citizen above the age of dash has the right to vote. Right again. 18 is a valid answer. Which branch of government makes or writes the laws? You chose legislative. And it is correct. What is the difference between monarchy and democracy? Excellent. Both of them is a brilliant choice. What type of government system is followed in India? Sharp thinking. Democracy is the right choice. South Africa became a democratic country in the year. You got it. Your choice 1994 is right. There are different types of dash all over the world. Bravo, government is the answer.
In a direct democracy and republic, who is in power?
Correct. The people's citizens is the right answer. The American women got the right to vote in the year. Perfect. 1920 is the correct choice. Introduction of new 2000 rupees note is the work of. Right choice. Central is the best answer. The right to enforce laws is dash power. Exactly. Executive makes sense, and it is right choice. Who represents the Queen in Australia's government? Great job. Governor-General is the accurate answer. What is the legislative function of the government? Great job. Makes rules and laws is the accurate answer. Which branch of government makes laws in Australia? Strong choice. Legislative is the right answer. Challenge. Common government types around the world. Nicely done. All of these is a solid answer. The king is the leader in a dash form of government. Good job. Your answer monarchical works well here.
Which is not a part of the government institutions?
Good thinking. Gratitude, trust is the right answer.
Dash is a country that has people of several races. You chose South Africa, and it is correct. Who has the most power in the parliamentary system? On track. The Prime Minister is the correct answer. Which of these is institutes, examples of government? Sharp thinking. Bharat Petroleum is the right choice. Detailed plan to tackle Dash soon, says government. Correct. Floods is the right answer. What should be the minimum age of a person to vote? Vote. Exactly. 18 makes sense and it is right choice. Under the Indian Constitution, there are Dash bodies. Well picked. 3 is the correct answer. Challenge. Which government type was there in USA? Smart move. Socialist is an accurate answer.
How many people rule in a government of oligarchy?
You got it? Your choice, a small group, is right.
In a monarchy, who usually has most of the power? Correct response. The king or queen is the most accurate answer. Which of the following is the people's government? Smart pick. Democracy is the correct choice. People above the age of Dash are allowed to vote.
Right again. 18 is a valid answer.
Which type of government is chosen by the people?
Nice work. You chose democratic and it is correct.
Dash is a form of government that is hereditary.
Clear logic. Your choice, monarchy, is sound and 100% true.
Who was the leader of African National Congress?
Valid point. Nelson Mandela is true.
What is the judicial function of the government?
Right choice. Interpret rules and laws is the best answer.
The government of India works at how many level?
Perfect. 3 is the correct choice. What country in Europe has a federal government? Bravo. Germany is the answer. When did the women in USA got the right to vote? Well reasoned. 1920 is the correct choice.
When was only a small minority allowed to vote?
Nice selection. Before independence is the correct and valid answer.
Courts are Dash institution. You're right. Independent is the correct answer.
The leader of the African National Congress was.
Solid response. Nelson Mandela is a valid choice.
Which of the following is the capital of India? Great thinking. New Delhi is the right choice. Which animal's population is falling in India? Well done. Tiger is the right choice. Writing in Journal Young India was said in Dash. Excellent. 1931 is a brilliant choice. What are the different organs of a government? Excellent choice. All of these is the right answer. People make decisions by Dash in a democracy.
Bravo. Voting is the answer.
What is the only country which has theocracy?
Exactly. Vatican City makes sense, and it is right choice.
American women got the rights to vote in Dash. Valid point. 1920 is
The term suffrage usually means right to dash. Smart pick. Vote is the correct choice.
Oak women got the right to vote in which year?
Great job. 1928 is the accurate answer.
Conventional symbols can be understood by all. Correct response. True is the most accurate answer.
Which is an important part of the government?
Right choice. Parliament is the best answer.
Where did women get the right to vote first?
Sharp thinking. United States of America is the right choice.
The dash level relates to the entire country. Solid response. National is a valid choice.
The origin of the word government comes from.
Excellent. Latin is a brilliant choice.
Who makes laws for the people in a republic?
Correct. Representatives is the right answer.
The union or central government is located in dash. Excellent choice. New Delhi is the right answer. What is the important part of a government? Strong choice. Parliament is the right answer. What is the minimum age of voting in India? You got it. Your choice 18 is right. In India, which type of government is there? Nicely done. Democracy is a solid answer. Which one is an example of an organization? Good thinking. Church is the right answer. People in India can vote at the age of dash. You're right. 18 is the correct answer. Most humans cannot function or live in dash.
Clear logic. Your choice chaos and turmoil is sound and 100% true.
Which country rules by monarchy government? Smart move. Both the MB is an accurate answer. Name the journal written by Mahatma Gandhi. Good job. Your answer, Young India, works well here. The pioneer of the suffragette movement is... Right again. Emmeline Pankhurst is a valid answer. The facts in a court of law is called dash. On track. Evidence is the correct answer. Which of the following relates to monarchy? Well picked. Monarch is the correct answer. What is the basic outcome of a democracy? Nice selection. Accountability to the citizens is the correct and valid answer. Where is power held in a unitary system? Perfect. Central government is the correct choice. When there is no government, it is called. Great thinking. Anarchy is the right choice. Gandhi ji advocated the right to vote for. Well done. All people is the right choice. How many organs are there for government? Nice work. You chose 3 and it is correct. The government whose seat is at New Delhi. Well reasoned. Union is the correct choice. What type of government exists in Canada? You chose parliamentary democracy, and it is correct. At which level does the government work? Sharp thinking. Local, state, national is the right choice. State government works at the level of a...
Valid point. State is true.
What is the age to franchise their vote?
Nicely done. 18 is a solid answer.
Elections were usually held once in dash.
Right choice. 5 years is the best answer.
Which of these is made by the government?
Right again, laws is a valid answer. Map which shows natural features is dash.
You're right. Physical maps is the correct answer.
Who is the head of the state government?
Clear logic. Your choice, the chief minister, is sound and 100% true.
What does a government make for everyone?
Strong choice. Loss is the right answer. Most governments don't fit into one dash. Correct response. Category is the most accurate answer.
What are the 3 levels of government?
You chose local, state, central, and it is correct.
Many countries fought fight to get dash.
You got it. Your choice democracy is right.
A government that is based on religion. Smart move. Theocracy is an accurate answer. How many types of government are there?
Well picked. Monarchy and democracy is the correct answer.
South Africa was suffering against dash. Bravo. Racial discrimination is the answer. Who will decide where to make a school? Perfect. Local government is the correct choice.
Power of the government gets limited by.
Nice work. You chose regular elections and it is correct. How many types of democracy are there? Great job. 2 is the accurate answer. Legislature of Parliament consists of. Great thinking. All of these is the right choice. Without government, there would be dash. Solid response. Chaos is a valid choice.
Which of the following was a dictator?
Correct. Adolf Hitler is the right answer. The Indian government has dash levels. Excellent. 3 is a brilliant choice. Who is the present governor of Odisha? Good job. Your answer, Ganeshi Lal, works well here. A government department called a dash. On track. Ministry is the correct answer. Dash are also part of the government. Well done. Courts is the right choice. Mahatma Gandhi wrote his book on dash.
Exactly. 1931 makes sense and it is right choice.
This government has a king or a queen.
Excellent choice. Monarchy is the right answer.
Who wrote the journal, Young India?
Well reasoned. Mahatma Gandhi is the correct choice.
The right to make laws is dash power.
Good thinking. Legislative is the right answer.
Which is not the organ of government?
Smart pick. Union is the correct choice.
The absence of a government leads to.
Nice selection. Anarchy is the correct and valid answer. In a democracy, who are the leaders? Smart move. The people is an accurate answer. Introduction of new 1,000 rupee note. On track. Central is the correct answer.
Government works at how many levels?
Well picked. 3 is the correct answer.
Which term is related to government?
Excellent choice. Democracy is the right answer.
Name the 3 levels of the government.
Good thinking. State, local, national is the right answer.
There are dash levels of government.
Clear logic. Your choice 3 is sound and 100% true. What was Gandhiji's journal called? Excellent. Young India is a brilliant choice. They have dash to rule the country. Well reasoned. Power is the correct choice. What is another form of government? Solid response. Monarchy is a valid choice.
The best kind of government is dash.
You got it. Your choice democracy is right.
People here keep sheep and goat why?
Nicely done. Pashmina shawls is a solid answer. Monarchy means to be ruled by dash. You chose king queen, and it is correct. The word apartheid in Afrikaans is. Great job. Apartness is the accurate answer.
Another form of government is dash.
Valid point. Monarch is true. UK women got right to vote in dash. Strong choice. 1928 is the right answer.
A local government governs a dash.
Nice selection. Village is the correct and valid answer.
Fundamental rights are feature of.
Right again. Democracy is a valid answer.
How many persons serve on a jury?
Well done. 12 is the right choice.
Who make the law for all country?
Nice work. You chose union government and it is correct. Suffrage refers to right to dash. Bravo. Vote is the answer. Who wrote Young India Journal? Correct response. Mahatma Gandhi is the most accurate answer.
What is the voting age in India?
Smart pick. 18 is the correct choice.
Who takes decisions in monarchy?
Right choice. King Queen is the best answer.
Name the neighborhood of India.
Correct. Burma is the right answer.
Universal adult franchise means?
Exactly. Adult can vote makes sense and it is right choice.
The first president of India is.
You're right. Uncle Nehru is the correct answer.
Who is the national executive?
Perfect. President is the correct choice.
National policies are made by.
Great thinking. National is the right choice.
Who is the president of India?
Sharp thinking. Ram Nath Kovind is the right choice.
What is a monarchy government?
Good job. Your answer ruled by a king-queen works well here. Whites came to South Africa too. Right choice. Settle is the best answer.
When did women got freedom?
Right again. 1928 is a valid answer. India is a country with dash. Nice work. You chose democracy and it is correct.
Writing in the journal dash.
Smart pick. Young India is the correct choice. Number of union territories. Good thinking. 9 is the right answer.
The legislature is for dash.
Sharp thinking. Making laws is the right choice. A democratic government is. Solid response. Both and C is a valid choice. Name of Gandhiji's journal. Well picked. Young India is the correct answer.
What is the full form of MP?
Nicely done. Member of Parliament is a solid answer. A democracy is the rule by. Strong choice. People is the right answer. General election held for.
Smart move. Country is an accurate answer.
You can vote at the age of.
Exactly. 18 makes sense and it is right choice.
The term suffrage means. Clear logic. Your choice right to vote is sound and 100% true. India is a dash democracy.
Good job. Your answer, representative, works well here.
Tick the correct spelling.
Correct. Monarchy is the right answer.
India is dash government. You're right. Democratic is the correct answer. Number of Indian states.
Well done. 28 is the right choice.
Name the Indian island. Great thinking. Lakshadweep is the right choice.
Rules are called dash.
Excellent. Laws is a brilliant choice. A level of government. Bravo. State government is the answer. Large-scale map shows. Nice selection. Small area is the correct and valid answer. Towns are looked by. You chose local, and it is correct. Seasport governed by.
Well reasoned. Central government is the correct choice.
Types of government. Excellent choice. 2 is the right answer. Suffrage means dash. Correct response. Right to vote is the most accurate answer. What is a monarch?
Perfect. King or queen is the correct choice.
Name the monarch. You got it. Your choice, Chandragupta, is right. What is democracy? Valid point. People choose their government is true. Full form of 2. On track. Post Telegraph Office is the correct answer. Monarchy means. Great job. King or queen is the accurate answer.
How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format. You chose Contact Narayan Changder on Facebook. And it is correct.